This is literally the stupidest thing I have ever seen in a Marvel movie. I did not watch my girl sacrifice herself on Vormir for this. What the hell, Marvel? Hey extraordinary people, I'm Daniel and I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although their last show was kind of low-key. Get it? Cause... Okay, I'll stop. No, I won't. The MCU is one of my favorite movie franchises of all time, and I've never truly disliked any of their films. Until now. Black Widow is the first film in the MCU which I actually dislike, and I can easily say that it's the worst film in the entire franchise. Which sucks, because Black Widow is one of my absolute favorite characters in the MCU, and I've been waiting for them to give her own movie for years. Just not this movie. Now I understand that a lot of people really enjoyed this film, and if you did, good for you. This is just my opinion and why I personally didn't like it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the movie, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button because that would be amazing, or even extraordinary. Alright, before I get into what I didn't like about Black Widow, let me just list a few things I actually did like about the movie. First of all, the actors. Scarlett Johansson is a phenomenal actor. David Harbour is great. Florence Pugh is great. Rachel Weisz is great. All of these are amazing actors, and their performances here are amazing as well. Second, the action scenes are very well directed. Kate Shortland is clearly a very talented director, and even though I overall didn't like this film, I'm still excited to see what she does next. Third, there's a lot of humor in the movie, which I definitely appreciate. It definitely made the movie a lot more fun than it could have been. So that's basically what I liked about Black Widow. Now here are the top 5 things I didn't like about it, and spoiler warning because I'm going to be talking about plot points from the movie. Number 5. Completely forgettable villains. A hero is only as good as the villain they fight, and this film's villains are trash. First, Taskmaster. Now, I personally don't care that they changed this character from a man to a woman. It literally doesn't matter to me. What they did with this character actually had a lot of potential. The fact that she's actually Dreykov's daughter and is being controlled and abused by him is actually really interesting, and I love the visual design of the character. It's just phenomenal in my opinion. She's a very menacing presence early in the film. The problem is, the movie doesn't flesh out or develop her at all. We're told constantly that Natasha thinks she's killed her and feels guilty about it, but we never see that, and we barely see her reaction to it. And the reveal of who the Taskmaster actually is comes so late in the movie that we don't have any time to process it or see anything interesting come out of it. It just doesn't have the impact it could have had. Dreykov, the main villain of the film, is even worse. We never learn anything about him, we never learn about his motivation or why he's doing anything that he's doing, and he's barely even in the movie. On top of that, he has the stupidest scene in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. When Natasha finally confronts him and tries to kill him, she realizes that she can't. This is his explanation as to why.
Smelling my pheromones prevents you from committing violence against me.
Smelling his pheromones prevents her from committing violence against him? What the hell were the writers thinking when they wrote that? All she'd have to do is wear a nose clip or, I don't know, hold her breath. But instead, they have her do this shit.
Thank you for your cooperation. You weren't quite strong enough. So
No.
finish it myself. Sever the nerve.
This is literally the stupidest thing I have ever seen in a Marvel movie. This is the olfactory nerve. Will someone from Marvel please explain to me how banging your nose into a desk will sever a nerve that's way back in your skull? Do you even science, bro? Number 4. The action is completely unbelievable. Now I know what some of you are going to say. It's a superhero movie, it's supposed to be unrealistic. To that I say, yes, it is. It doesn't need to be realistic, it needs to be believable. Realistic means it could happen in the real world. Believable means it makes sense in the world of the movie. Black Widow is supposed to be a normal human with no superpowers. She's a superhero because of her intelligence, her fighting skills, and her tech. So how the hell can she be in a car that gets hit by a missile, flips over a bunch of times, and explodes into flames, and then she just gets out and she's fine? She should have died so many times in this movie. It's so over the top, it almost makes the Fast and Furious films look believable. I said almost. The reason that it works though in the Fast and Furious movies is that those movies are trying to be ridiculous and over the top, whereas Black Widow is trying to be at least somewhat grounded in reality. These scenes just don't fit the tone of the movie at all and really just take you out of the experience. Number 3. The movie wants us to ignore that her parents are terrible people. So, Natasha's parents are abusers. They give her and Yelena to Dreykov, who they also work for, and Alexei, the dad, tells him everything is going to be fine when he knows it won't. Melina, the mom, is even worse. She actually invented the mind-control substance that Dreykov uses to enslave the Black Widows. Now, if the movie acknowledged that these characters are terrible, it could be the setup for a really great story. But the movie just wants us to forget about it once the family reunites. They barely mention that they feel remorseful for it, and that's supposed to be good enough for us to just excuse all their past actions. It's really lazy, and honestly, I found it kind of insulting. Number 2. This movie introduces potentially great themes that it never explores. Black Widow had so much potential. There are so many things here that could make for really gripping drama or really timely social commentary. Abuse, gaslighting, control, manipulation. This could have been a searing, challenging, thought-provoking story. And there's even scenes like the dinner table scene where they get really close to that.
You were my real mother. The closest thing I ever had to one. The best part of my life was fake. And none of you told me. And those agents you chemically subjugated around the globe? That was me.
But instead, it just turns into a generic action movie with some feel-good moments scattered throughout. In my opinion, it's an enormous missed opportunity. Alright, now for the number 1 reason I dislike this film. I could almost overlook some of the other ones, but this one really bothered me. I'll give you a second to guess what it is. Let me know in the comments if you got it right. Number 1. Black Widow is almost completely sidelined in the second half of the movie. To me, this one is almost unforgivable. When I watch a movie called Black Widow, after I and every other Marvel fan in existence have been practically begging for a film about Black Widow, and Marvel finally makes a movie called Black Widow, then I expect that movie to be about Black Widow. I don't think I'm asking too much here. Yes, I get that the first half of the movie focused on her, but the entire second half of the movie, where all the climactic stuff happens, just becomes the setup Yelena as the next Black Widow movie. Natasha, the actual Black Widow, just feels like a supporting character with no arc and no development. It's like, look, Florence Pugh is a great actress, like I said before. I'm sure Marvel is going to do great stuff with her going forward. But I did not watch my girl sacrifice herself on Vormir for this. They give her nothing interesting to do. We learn nothing substantial about her. She never develops as a character. It feels like they didn't even know what to do with her since we already know what happens to her after this film. It felt like Marvel just said, well, we have to make a Black Widow movie to appease the fans, so let's just throw something together and while we're at it, we'll set up her replacement character. To me, that isn't good enough. I wanted Black Widow to show us her soul. I wanted to learn more about who she is, what drives her, what she values, what she does when those values are threatened or challenged. I didn't want to see her reunite with an abusive, gaslighting family that came out of nowhere, be told to feel good about it, and then to add insult to injury, get sidelined in a generic action movie. What the hell, Marvel? Despite my complaints about it, Black Widow is far from the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. It still has a basically coherent plot, and if all you're looking for is cool action, some quippy one-liners, and a pair of decently likable leads, you'll probably like this film fine. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this is just my opinion. If you like the movie, good for you. But I personally just couldn't enjoy it. Black Widow deserves so much better than this. I'm going to get a little personal here. I love this character. When I saw her give her life to save half the universe in Avengers Endgame, I cried in the theater. There's a reason she means so much to me. I'm asexual. That may not seem like it has to do with anything, but just hear me out. I'm asexual, which means I'm not sexually attracted to anyone. Part of that, for me, is that I don't want to be in or have ever been in a romantic relationship, which makes it really hard for me to find someone who wants the same kind of platonic relationship that I do. There's an extremely pervasive idea in our society that men and women can't be friends without developing romantic feelings for each other. You see this in movies constantly. Every time you have a guy and a girl who are friends in a movie, they always fall in love by the end. So when I see Black Widow and Hawkeye, a female character and a male character in the biggest movie franchise of all time, who have a close friendship that never turns romantic, and which is accepted and treated as normal by everyone else in the series. That makes me feel represented. Now, I'm not saying I feel entitled to anything from Marvel or any other company. They can do whatever they want with their characters. All I'm saying is everyone has a reason why they love these characters. And Marvel, to some degree, owes it to its fans to put in at least a modicum of effort in portraying those characters well. What I expect from the MCU is what they usually deliver: compelling stories with compelling characters. And this film, to me, out of all the films in the MCU, has the least compelling story and the least compelling characters. It's beyond disappointing that I have to say that. Black Widow is one of the best superhero characters we've ever seen on the big screen. She deserves a better movie than this. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought about Black Widow down in the comments. And if you like this video, I'd really appreciate if you could leave me a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll get notified about all my future videos. Most importantly, remember that you're extraordinary. I love all of you so much. Bye. 'Cause you're extraordinary. Yes, you know it's true. Extraordinary. That's why I